Some of this we can eat to a ballet.
Well, the past couple of years, Dracula's become very, and like the Nutcracker, as popular as it is, we're trying to bring an audience in, and we thought this would create a lot of interest, and it has.
How did you, I know that you based this on Bram Stoker's
Yes.
story. And
It's loosely based on Bram Stoker's.
okay, tell me briefly about the story. What's the storyline?
Well, basically, have you ever seen Dracula?
Of course.
There's many, many versions. Well, this is sort of like a Romeo and Juliet ending where Mina falls in love with Dracula.
Okay. Well,
No,
God,
I just,
we're not doing sound bites here. I got it. Please, don't worry. I'll
Why?
guide you through this. I'll guide you through this. That's my job.
all over.
Well, because I can't use my tape recorder. Guide me through how this ballet came about from the time you thought of the idea.
Well, I did a lot of research. I watched, I think, over 4 different Draculas. And then I watched, I read like 2 different books. And I decided to follow the Bram Stoker's
Why Bram
version.
Stoker?
I found it interesting. I love the movie. And we have a little bit of X-rated for the audience scene with the bedroom scene, which I found interesting. I made different masquerade women. The vampires turn into masquerade women.
And you choreographed this?
Yes.
Was it difficult?
Challenging. It's always challenging because you never know what the finished product is going to be.
How do you choreograph something that when you look at a book, you have a book and you decide you're going to choreograph the story? How do you, what goes
First,
into
I
that?
start with the music. I search for music and I listen to it over and over again in my car, on the way to work, on the way home, when I get up in the morning. And then I start actually with the dancers. I look at the dancers like an artist, has their little easel, and I start working with them and hoping the ideas come.
Can you turn that down? It's got me. You're okay.
Oh,
You're doing fine. Don't move, please. Are we all right? Tell me about this ballet. Someone's looking at this ballet, and they need you to describe it, and they cannot see. Describe the ballet to me.
Well, let me give you an audience perspective because I look at it probably a little bit differently because I know the choreography, I know the dancers, so I'm watching it and hoping nothing goes wrong. People were glued to their seats last year, and it was very, very quiet at the end. There was thunderous applause. And that was sort of gratifying.
Describe the ballet, though, and what happens. First scene. Briefly, the first scene.
Okay, the first scene starts with Harker, who's engaged to Mina, and he's leaving to go to Count Dracula's castle. And once arriving at Count Dracula's castle, he's attacked by vampire women. Dracula comes, he brings him into his castle, and he welcomes him to his home, and he tells him he has complete usage of the house except for one room, which is a forbidden room. And that's the room of the wives, the brides of Dracula. So he goes into the room, and there's this huge affair with these 3 brides, and Dracula comes in, and Act 1 ends with Dracula enraged over Harker.
You talk about a Romeo and Juliet ending. What do you mean by that?
Well, are you familiar with Romeo and Juliet?
Of course.
Right? Well, I did a version at the end. I felt that the scene was so powerful with the love that I thought that Mina should fall in love with Dracula rather than her turning back, after he was killed.
This sounds like it's a very dramatic, very poignant piece.
It has something in it for everyone, I believe.
Why do you say that?
Well, if you come, you'll see.
No, come on. Boy.
Well, I told you I'm terrible.
Yeah, come on. Why does this have something in it for everyone?
Because I did it that way.
I'm going to kill you. Just about a minute.
I know you're going to kill me.
Try one more time.
Wait, okay.
Okay, think.
See, I freeze up when if you were talking to me over here, it'd be fine.
I know.
Once at that camera there,
well, darling, ignore it.
I'm trying to wait.
Just look at me. Concentrate
okay, if I had
on
a few Budweisers before you came.
Yeah, well, I should have brought some.
I didn't realize you were going to interview me.
Come on, tell me about why
Okay,
does it
let's
have
go back to
something
that.
tell me. Why does this have something in it for, excuse me, everyone?
Okay, so there's drama, there's sin, and virtue. Is drama, sin, and virtue?
I know, but is this a scary ballet?
Not really scary, no.
What makes it not scary?
What makes it not scary? I didn't go with using the fangs or the blood You know, you could read into that yourself.
So,
It's a little bit more classical than a lot of versions I have seen other companies do.
so you depend on the audience to use its imagination.
Exactly, because most people are they're familiar with the story of Dracula.
You're tough. You're tough. Ready? I need your name, correct spelling, please.
Sandra Prehoda, Prehoda.
I mean, I know who you are, but we always like to have it. Tell me about this ballet.
It's a beautiful love story based on Bram Stoker's novel. Eddie's kind of brought it up to date in that he is bringing it to today. In other words, it starts with a cocktail party where the core dancers are all in black dresses and Dracula is there along with his brides, and the guests are unaware that they are actually vampires. And from there he meets Nina and they fall in love, and it's a very passionate love story. In the end, Mina falls in love with Dracula and he's killed by Jonathan Harker, and then when Mina finds that he's dead, she ends up killing herself in the end. So it's very dramatic like that.
What do you like most about this ballet? From a dancer's perspective.
For my particular role, I get to really get into an intense acting character, which myself, when I'm dancing, I love to do character roles. So you really have to work within yourself to bring out a certain character. And this one's actually a little bit sexy, so I like that.
What do you think the audience gets out of it? That is going to be a problem.
For cutting it,
Okay, good.
it is going to be a problem.
There's certain universal language that never changes. This, you got that? Okay, oh my goodness, you were telling me about what you like. What do you think the audience gets out of this, or what do you hope the audience will get from this?
I think that the audience gets to see a great deal of dancing. The core dances are absolutely fabulous. They're really together, they're really tight. And now we have some of the better dancers in the world dancing right here with us. We have Dima and a dancer we call Regina from China, who are just a wonderful asset to our performance. And I think that our company's strengths are within its core dancing as well. So it's a lot of great dancing.
What do you hope people will know about this company?
I hope that they realize that we're a great asset to the state of Maryland. We are Maryland's premier ballet company, the only one in Maryland. So I think it's important that people realize that we're here and that we're growing and we're ready to perform where we're wanted.
Great. Oh, I have one other question.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're so overshadowed, though, by some of the national companies? Because everybody will go see them. But then, do you know what I'm saying?
Right. I think that because we're not a better-known company, people don't know of us. So the more publicity that we get, the more that people come to our performances, see us, and see what we have to offer. I think that we're getting bigger. So yes and no.
Bravo. Okay, next. Jeff, I need your name and correct spelling, please.
That's Jeffrey Watson, Jeffrey Watson.
And what's your role, your alter ego?
I'm Dracula's alter ego.
Okay. Tell me about your role.
Well, my role for me is one that allows me something that I really like to do, and it's kind of like explore a more abstract type character. I mean, I am the beast of Dracula. I'm not a man. I am of some mythical situation. So for me, it's kind of nice because it gives me a chance to go outside of myself, and I get a little bit more, I think me personally, I have a little bit more fun with my character because I get to move my body in a more beast-like manner. So it's like I can like watch things like National Geographics to see like how a wolf would move, to explore that type of, you know, character. And it's really interesting because when Dracula gets very upset and turns into the beast and I come out, it's like I have to be very aware of why he got upset, and to explore that gives me the opportunity to just really pretty much go crazy, but with the beauty of ballet, which is kind of an interesting change. You know, it's like I do classical movements or I do dance movements, but in a beast form, so it has an abstract quality, which I think is kind of nice. And my costume allows me the opportunity to really let my body project that image, so I really enjoy that characteristic.
What is so wonderful to so many people about ballet?
I think the beauty of getting a storyline told to them without a word being said. And I think that for the most part, they really enjoy watching the movement and letting the music, and it's like something as simple as a tendu or an arm position can say so much. And I think that that's really what people enjoy because it's a universal language. For example, we have dancers from around the world that are in the company, and Russia and China, and the fact of so many people from America, we can all communicate on one simple level of just dance. And I think even for the regular pedestrian walking down the street, they can understand the language of our movement. And I think the music helps a lot.
What do you like most about, tell me a little bit about this ballet from your perspective. How would you summarize it?
I would summarize it as it's a very dramatic love story that offers aspects of the Bram Stoker Dracula, but in Mr. Stewart's perspective of how it goes, and it just pinpoints certain aspects of the storyline. And as you know, I mean, it's a 3-act ballet, and you can't do the whole thing because it would just be too time-consuming and prop-wise and all that. But it's just like a beautiful story of dance that allows the audience to see so much beauty of just like a simple scene like the bedroom scene. How could you have a bunch of dancers doing something to convey feasting, for example, or how in the ballroom scene you could have a bunch of women dancing around from the quarter ballet to, we have midshipmen coming in from Annapolis Naval Academy, and to have them come in and then to all of a sudden have a ballroom scene, and then with the changing of a light or the changing of a backdrop or just a few props to come in to establish what basically this next scene is, and then to have what is that called? The coffin, which establishes another scene, and it's just like the storyline of just classical ballet being utilized to convey a story of love, somewhat betrayal, but a little bit of understanding, and I think people get a lot of compassion from it because it is.
I'm going to voice that under. I know what you were thinking. The lights were going crazy, but it's
Okay.
he's going under. What do you hope people will get from this ballet?
I hope that people will get an understanding that Ballet Theater of Annapolis is one of Maryland's most important natural resources, and the fact that they should maybe take a second look at what is within the state as opposed to what's outside of the state and even what's outside of the United States, because I think Ballet Theater of Annapolis is a force to be reckoned with, because we have international dancers and an artistic director and staff of people that have been volunteering their services for over 18 years. And going into the new millennium, Ballet Theater of Annapolis will be celebrating a 20th anniversary, and will also be offering Maryland 20 years, well 18 at the moment, but years and years of professional, classical, neoclassical, modern, contemporary, everything that you have within any other company from around the world, Ballet Theater of Annapolis has. And hopefully people will utilize the fact that it's so close and they don't have to go so far. And it's also, when you think about it, reasonably priced.
Okie dokie.
Take rolls, 1 and 2 shot.
Okay. Dimi, what do you like about being Dracula, about your role?
Что я могу рассказать?
Что тебе нравится про Дракула?
Мне нравится моя партия от и до. с начала до конца.
Почему?
Почему? Очень глубокий драматический смысл и мужская партия, много дуэтов, много больших прыжков. И вообще очень интересная работа во всем смысле.
He said he pretty much likes his role from beginning to end because it's very dramatic, and he's able to. There's a lot of different things he can do. He does his solo huge jumps and leaps, but he also is doing a lot of partnering and working with the other dancers.
Did you know
Pull
this?
your recorder back a little.
Sorry. Did you know the story of Dracula before you danced the part, or had you heard of it?
Yes, I look just movie.
You just heard of it?
The movie.
Oh, you saw.
Saw the
Did
movie.
you see the movie?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Ну, beautiful, nice.
Are you a better Dracula than the one in the movie?
Ты думаешь, что ты лучший Дракула, чем фильм?
Ну, в фильме гораздо больше возможностей.
There's a lot more possibilities in the film for the actor. There's a lot more.
Это шутка. А вообще это немножко разные у нас. Немножко разные подачи, сферы.
It's just so different that it's really not that comparable.
Do you think? How do you think American audiences are regarding ballet? Do they appreciate ballet as much as Russian audiences?
Разница между...
Американский народ и русский народ, как они смотрят на балет?
Ну, я почему-то заметил, что разница небольшая, ты знаешь.
Да.
Такой же зритель.
He said he's noticed that it's really not that much of a difference.
Потому что сейчас идет очень большая популяризация балета в Америке. То есть много показывают, много объясняют, много балетных труп. И, в принципе, уже люди, американский народ уже практически все знают, что такое балет. Это не как 20-30 лет назад, например.
He's saying that he thinks that now American audiences are much more educated and have more of an understanding of ballet than they might have 20 or 30 years ago, and that a lot of ballet companies in America and all over the world have been coming to the United States. So there's a sense that it's becoming more popular.
What do you like about your role?
I think that the neatest thing, at least I feel with my role, is that it really evolves. It starts off as kind of a young sprite, happily engaged, and as the ballet progresses, she is brought into this whole scene with Dracula and gets bitten and becomes a completely different person. And I think that that's the neatest thing about it, is that it's a possibility to really interpret over a wide variety of personalities and characters.
What's it like partnering with Dimi?
It's first of all incredibly intimidating in many ways, but it's been an incredible learning experience, and I think I've gained a lot from it. I've become, I think, a stronger dancer, stronger person for it, and have a greater respect for the level of experience and just knowledge that he has, and probably the Russian system in general, and many of the other dancers who've been trained and day in and day out since they've been children. How much they just use their bodies so well, and they understand their bodies as instruments. Whereas as an American, I didn't get quite as much.
The audience, what do you think that they see when they see this ballet?
Actually, it was interesting. I invited many people to it last year, and a lot of people just said, "Oh, I don't want to go. I've seen the Nutcracker, and I know what it is, and I'm bored." And I said, "I'll tell you, this is different. And if you haven't seen ballet in a long time, this is totally different." And a lot of them are coming back again this year because they enjoyed it so much, and I've told their friends, and they said they couldn't believe how much, different it was from what they remember, and how much they were completely entertained and mesmerized.
What makes it so different?
Because it's not just the typical classical little tutus, bright colors, and there's a deeply evolved storyline, and we have more bodily, physical exposure, and I get just all the different nuances. They're really it covers a wide spectrum of ballet.
Is it passionate?
There's passion, there's love, there's just excitement, and then there's the beast, which you just don't expect to see in a ballet.
Bingo. Okay.